taking photos.
Rep your street.
Tired taking photos. Freelance photographer, based out of Louisville, Kentucky. World traveler. Won a couple awards doing some photography. Recently out here in the streets for our people in the protests. Been out here on the front line capturing history. Just happy to be here.
Big Day of the Barber. Originally out of the east end of Louisville. Just recently released from prison, so I'm a convicted felon. So I speak out on behalf of the convicted felons, the right to vote and things of that nature in that arena. I'm also a barber, entrepreneur, business owner, an avid sports fan.
Mark Wags Wagner, Louisville, Kentucky. Wags her.
Paul Williams, call me Doe, manager at Wags Barbershop.
Chauncey Bender, Victory Park native, Louisville, Kentucky. Love my city, entrepreneur.
Sean Claiborne. I go by Sean Clay. It's my stage name. I'm a producer, music producer. I'm Louisville, Kentucky. I rap the whole city. I done lived everywhere out here. Louisville, from the Ville.
Internationally known.
Absolutely.
Definitely. All right, so we could just roll from here, man.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna add a little energy to this, man. All right, now that all the intros have been said and done, we're here today. Podcast is our first showing. We just want to talk about a few topics that I think are interesting going into the new year. And one of those topics is how 2020, we had very interesting 2020. 2020 been crazy from the beginning. I guess you could say, when did Kobe die?
2020.
April, I think.
That was like February.
February.
Man. That was February.
February.
That was February.
Okay.
I remember when I got the news, my sister hit me up and was like, Kobe, no. Who hit me up? No. Charles the Barber hit me up and was like, Kobe Bryant's dead. Charles ain't even really a sports fan like that, so I ain't really
Shout out
trust him
Charles
too
the
much.
Barber.
I thought that was something he seen on some Facebook, something like that, right? Yeah. Then I got on there and it said the helicopter crashed, and that's the first tragedy, that was significant that we knew about even before COVID started 2020 out. And that was a prelude to what was coming, because after that it was COVID. After COVID, it was all the social injustices and stuff like that. After that, it was the election. We can go on and on. But I guess I'm putting on the table, but how did it change, because everybody didn't survive 2020. It's a lot of people that didn't make it, People was getting laid off. People was getting laid off. People were getting ill, getting sick. A lot of people didn't survive 2020. So I just want to hear how y'all survived 2020, man. And how did the hustle have to change in 2020?
Well, I will say, can I start off as far as saying, people say 2020, clear vision and all that kind of sort of analogies and metaphors. And the only thing, and they was right about that, it lets you see clearly who was really going to be in your corner when you go through things, because this year it tested everybody's resilience. And
loyalty.
Yes, sir. And I think it changed, personally, my business-wise. Like, I lost my job 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing gas pipeline construction 5 years, working for a local company. Damn good job, working with natural gas. And it made me tap back into my entrepreneurship as far as like the hustle, the grind. but I had time to do it. So I just started conditioning my mindset. So I would say in a nutshell, not to drag it along, but it had me condition myself for better things that I know is coming this year. And I know we're going to talk about that later, you know. So
Use that pandemic as a pandemic.
exactly. Hey,
Really?
I ain't think about it like that, but yes, sir.
That's what you had to do. You had to plan because
Yeah.
you know, like with my barbershop before I came over here to Wags, I had to shut down. I couldn't. You know, it was like the roof over my head on my business.
All right.
And I was like, I got definitely keep the roof over my head, you know. So then you try to move into I'm gonna do house cutting, you know. But then you start adding up like your time and gas. It's like I'm spending more money doing that than, you know, sitting at the shop. But it was.
You got to charge a nice ticket. I'm gonna charge a nice ticket to pull up on you, man.
Yeah, and I was, you know, some people I didn't have to do it. They already knew, you know, and that's what the 2020 for the vision, you know, that's why I went into, like, you know, the 2020 is supposed to be your eyesight, see it good. And, you know, it smacked me. You know, it smacked me real hard, broke me down, almost depressed me a little bit. But I started surrounding myself around positive people. And, one of the people that I really spent most of my time, and he didn't even know I was really doing it, because I always like to laugh and joke and have fun, you know, and that's one of my ways of dealing with my pain that I have inside, you know, because I'm like, if I can get somebody else to smile, you know, I'm gonna be all right. But I was coming over here to Wags, though, you know, I was coming over here to Mark, and when I seen what he did, as far as changing up, you know, himself as an individual and then as a business owner, it kind of put me in perspective of, like, if you already done something, help somebody else with their dream, you know. So I said, I'm gonna come over here to Wags, help him out, you know, to fulfill his dream, because I really felt like that I can help him out and he can help me out in the process.
That's what it's about.
You know.
It was perfect timing too, for real.
I seen a lot of mothers and fathers become mothers and fathers over the pandemic.
That's right.
I see a lot of mothers is with their children, whether they right or wrong, but they do it a little too much, to where they get into it with teachers and administrators and counselors and things like that. So once they put schools in the home, it allowed the parents to see what their kids actually do in a school atmosphere.
Right.
And that taught a lot of people.
You got kids in the house?
Absolutely.
Go to school?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so talk
And
about
they
that.
eat a
Just
lot.
talk about that a little bit, man. 'Cause I don't, and I don't know what that's about.
I'm gonna tell you,
I
man,
can't
they eat a lot.
They not leaving the house all day. Oh,
Social media has really made these kids be nobodies. That's the only thing they know is
Go to the
Instagram and
Wow.
whatever social media that they play upon.
So are they really, like, on there doing their schoolwork, or was your kids?
It
on there
depends
doing
on your
school-
child and your
Hold on, let me
parenting.
finish the question.
Your child and your parenting, if they know that you don't play,
Finish the question. You
sorry.
don't know what I was gonna say.
I got you.
Are they on there doing their schoolwork, or was your kids bullshitting?
Sometimes they bullshit, but most of the time they did their work, because I'm parenting. I'm not letting
So
them get that.
how did you know whether or not they was bullshitting or
Because
doing their work?
If the teachers know that you serious, they go email you.
They will email you, all right?
You know,
So how does an email
come about.
when your child's bullshitting? How does that explain?
They let you
what
know
the-
how
what the
far
email says?
behind they are.
They putting on there they bullshit.
Yeah, they basically they talking to you because you build rapport with these teachers, and when you build rapport with these teachers, they communicate with you as if you're a friend most of the time. You know, I built with a lot of rapport with the teachers, so we was able to talk friendly and freely amongst one another to get progress done when it was dealing with my children.
Right.
It was just parenting. A lot of these people don't parent anymore.
Absolutely.
They let their kids get away with everything, and
Friend.
they befriend them. And you know, when I was growing up, I listened to my mama's music. Now mothers is listening to their kids' music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You know something, that is a point right there, man. You right.
You know, and then when I was growing up, the music was about getting money and drugs.
love.
You know, don't get high on your own supply.
And love, bro.
All the music now is about getting high. No matter how you get high, you got to get high. Because the music is influencing all these kids to get high.
Right. And it's
So with all that said, okay, still, you know, touching up on 2020 and how how 2020 affected us as a community and stuff like that, like social life, for instance. How do you feel like how social life was before 2020 when you could go out, say on a date, you could go out to a club, you could go out to a restaurant and dine, you can go to a concert, all that stuff eliminated.
it's in the dating in the pandemic, or just trying to have a meaningful relationship in the pandemic. So that goes for the person that's single and for the person that's married or that's in a committed relationship. It becomes a task to see if this is where a person really wants to be, if this is really what they want to do, because of the amount of time having to be spent with this significant other if they're in the same household. And then for the person that doesn't have it, trying to take them out, trying to court them, trying to do things with them, it becomes difficult because you can't go anywhere. You can't dine in. You can't go to the movies. If you do, there's only 5 or 6 people in at a time. So you can't really plan to take somebody out on a serious date to try to get to know them in this type of environment. So you have to do it socially
I want
through social media.
Well, I'll elaborate on that as far as like if you are in a situation where you able to try to court a woman, you know what I'm saying, or a significant other, that it really makes you think about how much we depended on other things to do it for us with the entertainment. Yeah. Like, so, you know, when's the last time you played dominoes with your lady or spades? Yeah. You know, simple things that you can do. You'll be surprised, them simple things that you don't really have to pay for during this pandemic, then really kind of brought that fire and desire back to some folk too, for real.
Pandemic saved the niggas some money though, man.
Yeah, a whole lot.
I had a good man.
Pandemic saved the niggas some money, man. All that money we went with spending out them. Well, I ain't gonna lie, DoorDash was ripping me.
Yeah, DoorDash.
Getting the food delivered, but all that dining out, all the movies and events and stuff like that. Yeah.
Retail.
But
therapy.
It was a time to stack, man. Yeah. I mean, if you were still fortunate enough to maintain your source of income.
Yes.
And with the lack of stuff to do around the city and throughout the country, throughout the world, you know, no vacationing, you didn't have to spend no money, you don't taking no trips nowhere. Right. You know, it was a time to stack, man. You know, and like I like to call it a pandemic. But look, a new NBA champion was crowned at the end of the year in 2020. And I'm speaking on the NBA because it kind of also rolls into like a significant part of what 2020 was about, because the protesting, when the season did start back up after the COVID and they were in the bubble, the protesting and stuff like that was going on. There's a lot of volatile situations going on throughout the country with the police officers and brutality against people of color. Young black males often were the victims, and that's who's playing in the NBA. 90% of the NBA is young black males. So I, as a person, thought it was wonderful to see them express themselves with different slogans and names on the back of their jerseys as they played, different banners that was hung up, expressing Black Lives Matter and say her name. And justice for all.
Adam Silver did a wonderful job.
All of that, you know what I'm saying? The players were able to speak during interviews and say a word or two about how they felt about the social injustices and really use it as a platform. But you know what? There was a whole lot of criticism about that too. Mm-hmm. There was some people that was not happy with every time they turned on the television that was put in their face. Mm-hmm. You know, Black Lives Matter was just,
why they sitting at home?
You gotta see it.
Why they
got to be on their jerseys.
And the reason
you can't watch it basketball without that
without being
forced.
reminded that. But the thing about this, the country needed a reminder. Mm-hmm. It was a time. Something happened that had to wake America back up to say, wait a minute, hold on. What you're doing is so negligent and so gross and so blatant and so foul that now that you're willing to do this in the public spectacle, in the public eye, and not care, not have any sympathy, not care about another human life, and you're supposed to protect and serve. So now that you're bringing this on, the NBA took the ball and said, you know what? Okay, our employees are African American young men, ranging anywhere from 21 to 40.
75% of the league.
So when you have that type of numbers in a workforce, then they should have a voice. It's just like having a union. When people do stuff at the job and the job just doesn't do it, I'm going to the union. We're going to have to strike or whatever we need to do. And America went on strike. That's what Black Lives Matter was. America went on strike and said, oh, we had enough. Because you've been killing people. You've been killing black folks. But now you're at the point where it's just like, we don't care. It's just like your life doesn't matter at all.
There's some black folks that still don't really understand it.
Because
I've heard black folks say, and it hurts me to hear this, but I've even heard black folks say, not many, but I've heard a few express, why don't they, when they go get done with this protest and stuff, when they go, you know what I'm saying, when they go stop, all this, behavior and cutting up and stuff,
they
in the street
comfortable.
and stuff like that.
Psychological conditioning.
And I'm like, when they stop killing our innocent black men,
because they're psychological
that's
conditioning.
when it's gonna stop. We've sat down and took it, man, for years and years and years. I feel proud. I love the fact that we are standing up, and it feels like we together for one time in my lifetime, man. Yeah. It feels like we're unified on one thing. You know what I'm saying? Right. Fighting against social injustices, man. Trying to get equal, still like a second equal rights movement is going on. You know what I'm saying? Right, Not so much like in the land of the law, but just in some moral type of stuff. We as black people probably always, I have myself never really looked at the police like like servants of the community.
We're gonna have to get him one of them little joints.
Okay.
Because here go the thing. We can, being that this ain't live, we can mess up a million times.
Times, that's right.
Real talk.
It's going right.
We just happen to be organic, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Somebody else?
A couple of things. Next thing we need to make sure we can some powder so that his forehead doesn't get so shiny. So just some baby powder on his forehead.
Yeah, you got one of them Stephen A. Smith.
It happens. It's just camera lights. It's
not drug-free community.
Not that kind of powder. Not that kind of powder.
Stephen A. Smith, man.
Bob, some of this,
Just a little bit for
Gary Payton here in a minute.
That's what I was kind of waiting on, the Gary Payton.
Yeah, we're just trying. We don't want to start off this.
But you're doing good.
Hey,
you're doing good.
Thank you, man.
Hey, you know what's on that paper.
Put the paper down.
Nah, you can leave it right there, but you know what's on that paper.
We still rolling?
Yeah, we're always rolling. Okay, I just introduced myself and then I'm out.
Okay.
Before you start, shouts out to Bel Air, our sponsor.
Yes.
Tiffany. Oh, come here, sweetheart. This is Tiffany, the bottle lady.
Hello.
What kind of Bel Air is this that you just got through? What's this flavor right here that we just got through consuming?
That's that Barrel Air Rose.
This is the Rose.
Rosé champagne.
That was the Rosé, the pink.
Okay, and what is this right here?
This is the Bel Air Gold.
Okay, the Bel Air Gold. I haven't tasted the gold, but the Rosé is all that. What y'all think about the Rosé?
Rosé was pretty damn good.
I think it was pretty good.
I've been popping.
I will be purchasing the bottle.
I like it.
Good.
I like it. It's really good champagne. It's above average for sure.
Absolutely.
It's really good. I was impressed. It's very good.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.
Okay, Kyle, who are you?
Right. My name is Carl Ford Jr. I'm an Army brat. My parents retired from Fort Knox, Kentucky. That's my tie to the local community. And I've been based in Paris for the last 10 years. I work in web design, development, and branding. And got the pleasure of meeting Mark a couple of months ago. We hit it off, and the rest
Longer than
is
a couple of months.
the rest is
man.
history. I know.
It's been like,
A couple months. July.
I don't know, is that when we met? About July, yeah.
June,
That's more than
maybe.
a couple
Maybe
means
June.
too.
Yeah, I guess it's been a little. Yeah, I guess it's been a few months.
I get you. So who Lakers fans in here?
Man,
Obviously,
you're
I'm from
looking
LA.
at
How many Lakers fans we got
If you're
in
not
here?
a Laker fan, man,
I'm a Laker fan.
You're a Laker?
You know?
You're a hater.
What fan
That's how
are
I feel
you?
about it, man.
I'm definitely a Boston Celtics.
Falls in that
Okay.
category.
How about you,
Lakers.
sir?
I'm LA
Lakers,
Lakers.
man.
I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. Been since
Yeah, I mean Michael
you know
Jordan. I mean
Michael
Mike.
J. You
Michael
know,
Jordan. Michael
Michael
Jordan
Jeffrey
left.
Jordan?
you know, never left.
Yeah.
I mean,
Never left.
what
Never
y'all
left.
gonna do? I mean, is there another Michael Jordan coming through that door?
Nah,
Like the
I
Knicks.
thought,
Nah,
Rose was
I
in
thought somebody was.
That's got to
I
be
just
tough
knew
to
we was
be,
gonna
a,
get
to be a
Melo or
Chicago
something.
fan right now. Who is your star player?
Levine.
Zach Levine.
Zach Levine.
He won't out there so damn bad.
I'm telling you.
He won't be there
He won't
throughout
come
the
to the
season.
Lakers.
Yeah, they don't want to pay nobody, man. But I like Chicago, man, and I'm just.
Who's the MVP this year, yeah?
Well, you mean so far?
Check us out.
NFL.
We're talking NBA. In the NBA.
I actually think Luka's going to be the MVP.
Luka.
He's going to be the MVP this year.
I agree with him.
Giannis.
They gave it to Giannis 2 years in a row.
Giannis
They
gonna
stop
keep
it right
getting
there.
Third time charm.
Giannis can't
Continue
get
to
it.
get it.
Giannis
Giannis
can't
get him to the finals.
do. Giannis, Luka does more for his team than Giannis.
Nah.
Nah.
He does.
Did
Luka,
you see the
listen,
Clippers
man,
just lost by 50 points without
I know it.
It was
without
down 50 in the first
you think
half.
who's more important to their team? Like you lose
Happened in,
50 points to the Mavs, and the Clippers they didn't have Leonard.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
think he's gonna be the MVP.
I'm saying this, but
Yeah, he's MVP
Vegas,
literally.
Vegas has Luka being the MVP.
Yeah.
because of what he
To
does.
start the season, you know, Louisville's
I mean-
ranked to start the season.
Because of what he does.
Got
He-
roll with Vegas.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm a LeBron man, right?
Yeah.
I always have been since he entered the league. Lakers man, but I'm a LeBron fan. So I'm looking like past LeBron a little bit now. Like, okay, when he retires, man, who's gonna be my guy? And if I had to pick a guy whose game that I really enjoy watching after LeBron, that I think is going to have a long, illustrious career in the NBA, Luka would have to be that person, man. He has to be top of the conversation because I think he does have them qualities that can win you championship, put the right pieces around him.
He does.
I mean, he does. But that's anybody because the
He
NBA
can-
is a very interesting
he
sport.
can win with the
Anybody?
pieces that he
Have
has
y'all ever
around
seen
his
that?
game.
Say anybody.
Oh, you
The
said
NBA has
anybody, though.
blessed us. We have been blessed with the NBA with something we haven't been in a while. And that's pretty much every team has some stars, a few stars.
Facts.
It's
Where
good.
hell,
Look
it's
at
like
the
if they
Nets.
do get the right pieces,
Brooklyn Nets.
anybody can
Everybody
win.
got somebody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because on the right night,
And they
Dallas
did
ought
it
to be-
because they allowed
Except
their
for the
players to put
Bulls,
it in
man.
their own hands.
So everybody got a 6th,
Yeah.
7th man, 8th man, 9th man, 10th man.
Everybody's got like multiple
Just like about
all-stars.
Denver look good.
All right.
You know,
That's because these young brothers are studs.
I'm not looking at anybody in the West like that, man.
How did you
You're
guys,
a Laker.
bench.
how did
See,
you
he
guys
has a biased opinion because he's a Laker.
How did you guys feel about the championship today this year? Because this is the first year I've been back in the States. So when I watched the championship, for me it was like the most anticlimactic. It was like, okay.
I enjoy.
I mean,
You
it was
enjoy-
dead.
really?
It was
Yeah.
dead.
It was
dead
just like-
because
No
of the
fans.
whole- the whole bubble.
Kobe's
It was
gone.
about
Like, what's
you.
the point? I'm sorry, I didn't see. I didn't. I
But I
felt
think it was
completely
the
You
lack
like
of
the
the
digital
crowd.
fans?
I think
No,
the
I
first
don't
month-
even. Listen, truth be told, I'm the computer nerd out of all of us. I most of the time I don't follow any of this stuff anyway.
I wanted to get on.
Nah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you
Nah,
this,
well,
man. It was
like that.
it was an excellent
yeah, yeah, yeah.
experience.
No, I saw it, but it's just like
Just had to get a lot.
It all depends on your view of life.
Yeah.
If you appreciate the small things, it was excellent.
Quickly.
If you someone that
Will you
expects
all
the
attend
most, it
sporting
was,
events
you
in
know.
2021 if they open up?
yes.
To everybody.
Give me the shot. By the way, vaccine
But
go and
did
knock me out
anybody
now.
So you don't have no
Kentucky
problem with
game,
large-
travel,
so-
y'all have no problem with large gatherings.
No.
No.
I'm saying
Wear a
if
mask.
Grown.
If
I gotta get the
I-
vaccine.
you make your own decision.
Wear
No,
a
get the
mask.
vaccine.
Yeah. Hell yeah, I'm getting a vaccine.
I'm not getting it.
No, I'm not
Yes.
I'm not getting
I don't
it.
need to get
You're
it.
crazy. You
Hey,
need
can I
it.
say something?
I don't have underlying conditions.
I've been on the fence about it. This is a concept that
president
I
got
think.
the
Think
vaccine.
about this, fellas.
Yeah.
Yes,
How,
the president
how
got the
about,
vaccine.
I mean, are we for sure he did?
hey, Mark, how about
Oh,
the
that's what they
vaccine
showed
may
us.
be the cheese at the end of the maze? If you think about it, put a mouse at the end of the maze. He goes, beats up, gets all distressed, keep bumping into dead corners, finally see some light because he see the cheese at the end. get to the cheese, and all of a sudden it's a trap.
So,
But we've been through the whole 20.
I
The
can-
whole
listen,
thing, though.
I never denied it. I never denied everything from Tuskegee
Do you get what I'm
experiment,
saying?
like our grandparents,
you're
what they
saying.
went through, of course. But I think if you went back through, actually take a look, take all the conspiracy theory, all that stuff out the way, and actually read what they've done in the short amount of time, what they've been able to do. What they've done is they've gone in, they didn't attack the virus, they attacked the protein that allows the virus to come into your cell. So what the virus does is they create an inhibitor so that that protein doesn't allow the virus. So think of the protein as a key into your cell, right?
Okay, what's the
So that protein, they
what
created
they
a
kill?
protein inhibitor. So that the virus can't get in.
To the protein.
So they didn't go and attack the virus like they used to. I don't know if you guys know it. They used to, you know, then they injected in
Basically, what you're saying
eggshells.
is
and
it
all.
doesn't
prevented
just
it from getting in
attack
that
one
cell.
virus, but what it's going to do is attack what makes
With
Makes
new,
it
and so
Yeah,
if
it's
you
gonna
if you
take
take some
everything that
time
ever-
out, smoke tonight, and read what they're doing in technology now, mRNA technology, what they're doing is they're going around it. So instead of actually fighting the virus, they're fighting on how the virus gets into your cells. It's fascinating. It's groundbreaking
it's
stuff this
definitely
year.
great. You have to look at these conspiracy theories due to the fact that the government puts
Yes.
out so much media, so much news, you don't know what to believe. And I believe that the vaccine can be good for those that it hinders. For those with the underlying conditions that it hinders, the older community, the ones with the, like I said, underlying
Chuck,
conditions.
The people that really need it.
What
that-
if your granny has an underlying condition?
She need to get the
hold on, let me
vaccine.
finish.
All right.
And you don't. You're asymptomatic.
Right.
Doesn't bother you,
Okay.
but you're carrying it.
Okay.
You have it.
Okay.
You go around your granny who does have an underlying condition.
All right.
Now you got us sick, struggling for our life. How you feel about that?
I think she should get the vaccine. And when she get the vaccine, then it'll do as he just put it out
So
there.
the carrier,
So
so
it
other
only
people don't
works-
have any responsibility?
I think it,
So you won't go
I
around
will be
her?
responsible. If I gotta get it, I will get it. I'm not getting ready to be naive and be like, I'm just not gonna do it. Because soon it's gonna be, you can't even leave the country,
Right.
or you have to have a vaccine passport
Right.
in order to go anywhere. In order to keep your job, you're gonna have to.
As you
you
should.
know,
So
it's going to
does
get to
anyone
that
believe
point.
the vaccine? Who believes the
Alright, so-
vaccine is some type of conspiracy to like?
So,
I don't know,
so
inject
the
us
question is, who's going to take it? Raise your hand if you
I
gonna
have
take
no
it.
problem.
I will if
taking
I
it.
got
think
to.
I have no
If
problem.
I-
Listen,
got
Well, you might as well raise your
A
hand,
lot
bro,
of-
because
so-
I feel like
I'm not in
like
the
what
first
you,
couple
some
of
of the
waves.
things you named.
Right,
I'm
we
gonna
not
wait.
in the
It's
first
gonna
couple waves
end up
anyways.
Giving you risk. You
But-
like the kind of brother that got a lot of things going on where one time or another it's going to become like,
Absolutely.
I'm going to take his damn thing.
But if you think about it,
But I'm
Because I like
not
to
going
do
to be.
things.
I'm not going to be first in line like what you said. I heard what you said.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. That's why I didn't buy the
Wait a
Wait a
PS5.
second. But wait, all of us are in our like
Be the first
40s,
one to be
our late
the
30s or
first
40s,
Yeah.
right? Do you remember
It's
when you were
gonna
little?
take some serious
Do you remember all those
consideration.
little
Some serious
random ones
thought.
we had to get?
You know,
Remember
it's not-
MMR?
it's
Yeah,
Mumps,
polio,
rubella,
polio.
polio. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's actually communities now in the United States. No conspiracy theories, no BS. There's communities now in the United States from Seattle to I believe the Hasidic Jewish community in Brooklyn now, where they have cases of polio for the first time in 80 effing years because people think that vaccines don't work. And when we were younger, we all got those. Remember those little booster shots?
Yeah.
You know, now kids don't have chickenpox
Yeah.
anymore.
My
Remember we
niece
all had
been
to rub
getting
each other, and then
Yeah.
you gave it to your brother, your sister, and then they all got chickenpox. They don't have that anymore because there's a vaccine. So I'm not saying, I know that we've come a long way, and I guess that's another part, another
for
thing that we need to
measles?
talk about as a country, like how much more, at what point do we begin to open up and say, okay, maybe we are going to be able to give another chance. And I understand the pain of it, I get it, but sitting in our own insular community and doing it like this isn't helping us out, and we're the ones dying.
Okay, so,
So
let's say this.
do we think? Oh, I'm sorry. So do we think that the vaccine that they come up with a vaccine in a couple of months?
A year.
They've been working on this.
It's a year.
Since the virus.
Then it ain't even been a year.
It's been a year. It's been
It's a
exactly a year. They started it this time last fall.
What's that?
October of last year they
Well, if
started.
you believe
it.
in conspiracy
October
theories,
of
you
last
best
year,
believe
October of last year, they started
they've
with
been
the vaccine?
creating a
It's
problem.
October of
They've
last
been
year.
creating a
Remember, so
solution
they
for the
kinda
problem
started
they
in
caused.
It
I'm
started
saying
in. It got here in March.
Yeah.
So,
saying-
oh, by the way, I brought coronavirus over.
Yeah, okay.
My whole team had it. We
Okay.
all
Can we talk
Okay.
about the root of
We
what
all
it
had.
all? It's all about the stock. Let's go ahead and talk about what stocks.
Well, I'm
we
saying
need to
about
get
the
in.
vaccine though. We
But
got
with
the
the
vaccine
vaccine,
for the COVID.
I'm saying,
ACB, are
Why
you
don't
with
we?
Aurora
Why don't
Kind
we
of
get it for the
properties.
flu?
I'm an innovative.
Why
I'm
don't
saying
we get
it's-
it for pneumonia?
My
Why-
thing. That's my thing. I'm with him on it.
Say it again. I'm
They come up with a
apologizing.
vaccine. They come up with a vaccine,
Yeah.
right? Come up with a vaccine. Just like that.
Not that. No, it's not just like that. That's what I'm saying. Go
I'm saying
read
It's not
it.
just like that.
It's
What-
not.
what-
It's
I'm saying
not.
just like that.
They've been working on this for a while.
I'm saying in the time
Yeah, they've been working on
frame,
it
it's
for a while.
unusual for them to be able to come up with a vaccination.
Yes, I agree with you.
vaccine for this type of.
But read it. Read what they've done.
Coronary strand. Now, with that being said, now yes, they did come up with a vaccination for measles, chickenpox, smallpox, polio, all of these different things, but it took them years.
Yes,
They didn't have that
but that's what's
technology.
fascinating about science.
Technology with chickenpox.
Yeah, but you have to go back.
Not 2020. Not
But hold on a
2020.
second. Yeah, but look at what we're able to.
Scientists have been around for hundreds of years.
Yes, but look
They
at what
didn't-
we're
But
going
we
to
in
do right now.
2020, bro.
20
They
years
know
from now,
so much.
Science
you
been
can.
around for thousands.
You
of
can.
years.
I mean, right now, if you call my boy over in Paris right now, my message goes up to a
I
satellite,
think that
which
there's-
shoots it
I
all
think
the way
that
over
there's-
to another
I
satellite.
think that makes-
20
that's
years
what makes
later,
it
we're
a
supposed to
conspiracy,
have.
is because
For me, I think it's a
Yeah.
fascination of our
Hold on, we have-
species
yeah.
of what we're able to do. Is that how it? Here it is. We've had the whole world. So it's not just the United States. It's the whole world. All the scientists in the world are coming together to fight one thing. And I think it's fascinating for us as humanity if we can get out of the conspiracy theories and the media of everything is always death and dark. Remember, Trump became president. Remember, it was all going to be Nazism. We were all going to die. Remember, Obama became president. Remember, we were all going to die. So what I'm saying is that for me, it's fascinating that the science community has been able to, all of them in 1 year have focused all of their effort in eradicating this disease. The same that they've did with HIV, the same they've done with Ebola in Africa. And if you look right now, out of all the countries in the world, which gets no news here, which countries are doing the best? Do you guys know?
Yeah, Germany.
All of them in Africa.
Yeah, right.
But this is what you have to ask yourself.
Why?
Why do black Americans feel hesitant to take
That's
the
the conversation we need to have,
Because
and it's
the
not a comfortable.
propaganda-
I'm not
it's-
saying
It's the propaganda, bro, and the conditioning of our mindset.
Yes.
Of what been happening to us in America for so long.
Yes. Well,
It's
let's-
easy
let's
for them to
talk.
Hell, ask me why is it easier for your brother to feel more comfortable to take his car, get it fixed by the white guy versus OG Joe up the street that's gonna do that shit for you for $30.
Well, let's
And
let's
OG
give,
Joe used to work. You don't know Joe's past because he ain't necessarily told you, but hell, he probably used to work at Napa or some shit.
Let's
He
give
might
a-
have could have been in the damn pit in the NASCAR. Something you never know, but
Yeah.
There's reasons
But like-
behind that also because you done
Well, I
dealt
know
with
what you're
them
saying.
kind,
Yeah.
and you know it
I mean,
depends
I
on
get
your
it.
own life experiences. But
Right.
the social norm is to go to the white man. But look, I'm gonna give you a little simple size of growing up. And you know, when back in the '60s and stuff, when black people had an opportunity to do something, white man would tell them, "You better not. You can't invite nobody else. You couldn't bring. You couldn't bring nobody else in.
White
You
man's
had to accept your
presentation be
gift
better, man.
and go on about your life.
The visuals,
you couldn't
the
share.
presentation be
You
better,
know,
man.
so that's
True.
the mindset of coming up. That's why black
But you know
people
why
bring
I've
people
learned
down,
running
each
my
other
own
down.
business. You know why the presentation is better? It's because they've had better experience
Looks-
and they've
it-
got better. They
looks
got
better
a better
than-
foundation.
Looks better to go to Goodyear. I mean, go to Firestone or something and do to catch dude behind AutoZone.
I know what you're saying too.
That's the way society is
Hey,
made.
and that means everything because if a brother or sister do have a nice presentation, storefront looks nice, you can't tell.
Exactly.
Well,
I'm in
let's
the
give,
making of, like right now, I'm in the making of, like I say, I also do, I'm an entrepreneur as far as freelance photography.
Yeah.
I have a business that I'm working on that
I saw
plan
you at
on.
the protest now. I
Just-
remember your face.
Just being out, the business that I'm trying to do, I want that to be able to run. It don't have nothing to do with who I am as far as my color. It's just going to be a good business.
Exactly.
Period.
Well, doing all this vaccine talk, we can at least give I'm gonna say a big shape up to the young lady that's African American that came up with the vaccine.
Oh yes.
So
That's
let's
right.
give
That's
her a
absolutely
hand.
right. That's absolutely
on
right.
That's her name for the people who
I don't even know. I can't
it is.
pronounce
It's an
it, to be
African.
honest.
She's African. She's
She
African,
came
huh?
up with the vaccine.
So,
Yeah.
she came up.
Tell me a
with
little bit
the
about it. You know a little bit about it?
Not
No.
not as much as I should, to be honest. Look, we all got
That's
homework
what
to
they
do
said we on
tonight.
next
Give 'em shape
episode
up.
of it.
Things we all agree on. Give them a shape up.
So we're gonna give her a big shape up on that.
Shape up on that, man.
Big
Give us
shape up
a
on
shape.
that.
Hey,
content
that's,
for me?
hey, that's a dope little saying.
enough content? I'm good enough.
All right.
Yeah.
Because that's,
I gotta
that's
get-
subliminal, like you squared off. Everything's squared.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all don't want to hear me talk about Louisville from my perspective. Okay.
Good restaurants to eat at.
Our good black restaurant.
Wait.
No.
About my little thing,
Not healthy.
Man,
Oh
it's
no,
pretty good
I'm obsessed with
restaurant so
Dash
long.
and Barber.
Switzer, the
I'm
new,
obsessed.
Best
the new.
fried chicken in the city.
I'm a blessed.
Who got the best chicken wings?
Dash
in the
Barber.
city?
Man, I'm a
Dash and Barber.
Thank you.
That's what you
Dash
say.
Barber, yeah.
Johnson?
Hey, come on
Yeah,
over
Dash
there.
Dash and Barber.
We'll go
Oh,
around.
man.
Dash
Johnson.
Barber,
Johnson.
oh,
Hold on,
man.
we'll go around.
Dash Barber's the
Johnson.
best.
Best
Go
wings.
around.
Man, I don't know. I still eat Wingstop, man. They pretty good to me.
Too much grease, man. It used to be my spot, man. Greasy.
You want me to go with Best Wings?
Best wings.
I'm gonna go with Wing Station. Shout out to my boy Leland.
Shout out to Leland Wing Station.
Wing Station.
Man, hey,
What you
Leland do got
thinking,
some good
Ty?
wings,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna go with my guys over at Daddy Rich's, man.
Daddy Rick.
Daddy
I
Rich's.
haven't
I
tried
should've
that
went
one.
Daddy
Should've went
Rich's,
to
man.
Hey,
If
so
they
we
were
go
just
we got
consistently
some Daddy
open,
Rich's,
man.
man. My guy, they fairly new, so I understand, bro.
Yeah.
Daddy Rich's, bro.
I gotta keep my old faith. I mean, it take him like an hour and a half to get it together for me, but
That's why you gotta call it. Oh, you said that's about to take an hour and a half.
You have a spot yet?
That's just
My
cold
God.
soul food right there. That's just
Well,
all
who?
the way
Dash
around.
Barber?
I ain't hip to Dash and
I
Barber.
like
Okay.
Dash Barbers.
All the way around.
I'm gonna give a big shout out to my favorite wings on Aces, down on 18th and Broadway. Is that 18th? Nah, I take that back. What is that?
Yeah, I say 18th.
Aces Slushes, man. What's that on like 17th?
No, I said 18th.
18th? Aces Slushes, man.
They have wings.
I gotta go with Daddy Rich's
Yeah.
too.
I
I gotta go with Daddy
I don't.
Rich's.
Where's Daddy Rich's?
Fools on 7th and Oak.
They see they flavors out. They got
go
futuristic
with Wing
flavors at
Station,
Daddy
man. I
Rich's.
got-
See, I
Man,
don't be
get the
doing all that.
buffalo,
No,
man.
No, I don't
Hey,
be doing
bro.
all that. Just give me salt and pepper. I don't like them.
They got some lemon.
I don't like all
they
that
got some
extraness.
lemon, they got some lemon pepper.
Lemon
buffalo.
pepper buffalo. Yeah.
Then they got some srirachas.
Yeah, I didn't have the
some
lemon pepper
You talking
sriracha.
about Daddy Rich's?
Now you
Lemon
got,
pepper
you know who else
buffalo.
has good wings? I mean, it's a classic bar in the Highlands.
Bar,
Back
bro.
door.
I like the back door.
Man,
See, they just
back
be
door.
hard,
I love-
man.
They used to be better.
Yeah, they be hard.
Hey,
I like back door too. I like going in the back door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
They really bringing that shit
I live
to life,
right
bro.
across the street
Man,
from it.
and
Yeah,
them,
You know what I
that's
mean?
good.
Yeah, shout out
I
to
give
them,
a
bro.
shout out. I give a big shape up to him.
Big shape up.
A lot of restaurants.
What about the seafood
man?
industry, y'all? The seafood industry.
Yeah. You know,
Hey, see,
I
the
gotta work
lady's
out.
not
I'm
by,
pretend
she's
like
not
I'm
by
doing it.
herself out here.
what
no more,
about
I
the
will say that.
Chinese lady at the end of the building, man?
Trust me.
nah.
Egg
33
rolls.
years, man. What Corona did
Yeah,
to
man.
that,
Oyster
man.
wings, man.
What happened? She went out of business. She's
Yeah,
out
she
of
went out of
business.
business.
All right, so is that what we're talking about?
Oyster
Is
wings,
that what we're
man.
talking about? The effect of Corona?
It's a
It's called
You know,
quick
it just kind
warm,
of
quick
slid in
work.
there
I
since
mean-
we was talking about restaurants.
Quick
Before
work.
we, I mean,
Someone that's been on the business for 33 years, you know what I'm saying? And then you see them fall to Corona. It does, you know, it does,
Hey,
yeah, it
bro.
does
Open
resonate
up
with
your
you.
mind.
Because I
She
spoke
said she's
with her
going to do
personally.
nails.
You know, and she told me the reasons, and they were Corona-based reasons. You know,
Yeah.
business had been so unsteady and in decline since like February of this
and the
year.
government isn't cutting us the right checks.
And, you know, she's
Right.
struggling.
So ain't.
So, you know, best wishes to her.
Shout out to her husband too, cause she
Shout
told
out to
me
her
about
husband. Good people, man.
yeah, they're good people.
Good people.
33 years.
33 years.
33
I'm
years.
glad I was able to pay. Look, she told me when I went over there like last week, and she told me she was gonna be leaving like 3 days after.
Yeah, that's when I
Like,
went.
man, I'm glad I came in here then. I'm all about the universe, man. I
That was
feel like
last week,
sometimes
wasn't
the
it, Mark?
universe be telling you to do certain
was
things.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
You don't even know why you're doing it, man.
I went
but it
down
don't
there
make
every
sense.
day last week. Just to.
Let's say today we've got Devry, a normal guest on the show. We've got Tiffany C joining us to get a lady's opinion on some things. We've got Chauncey. Hey, Chuck. We've got Miss Janae E.
What's up? What's up?
And we've got Carl Ford in the house.
Sir.
All right. What we talking about today, y'all? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, ladies?
Well, I guess during our little off camera, Tiffany and I were in a discussion. We were talking about vaccinating your kids, and I don't have kids, so it's not my, not a place to tell people what to do with them. But you want to start on that, Tiffany, like what we were talking about?
Yes, we were talking about the vaccine as far as giving it to our children, and I really don't agree with that only because the research that me and my kid's father went with our youngest son, with him having ADHD, was not good for him. And the medicine that we were giving him basically was giving him side effects, like he had Tourette's syndrome, or he wouldn't eat, or he was losing weight. So we stopped giving it to him, and now he's gained weight. He's still on his schoolwork. He's a straight A student. He's been a straight A student even with the medicine he was.
So I would think that maybe even like instead of like maybe in a bigger question, instead of like vaccines, the bigger question is like, why are schools over disciplining and over medicating our children in the first place? So for me, a lot of times I find, like, and again, I don't have kids, but a lot of times my friends' kids, for me, the doctor says they have ADHD. I'm like, dude, he's a 6-year-old boy. We're all guys. So you're 6 years old. What's the first thing that you want to do as soon as your feet hit the ground is run. Go run and do. That's just how we work. I don't know why, but that's just, for me, I don't see a hyperactive kid. I see a normal 6-year-old.
Right. And I feel like the doctors, they get paid off giving our children those types of medicines. So the only thing that they're doing is making it seem like your child has a problem when your child doesn't have a problem. They may have a little bit more energy than the other kids, but they don't have a problem. But writing that script to your children, the doctors get paid off of that. So of course they're going to make it seem like, oh, your child has ADHD and your child doesn't have ADHD. There's no such thing. When I was growing up, and I'm almost 40, so when I was growing up, there was no such thing as ADHD. But now all of a sudden there's a such thing as ADHD. And I feel like they come up with this to limit our children as far as jobs, as far as, careers in their future, if you ask me.
But you could say that there wasn't a condition called ADHD, but maybe there was and they didn't have a name for it yet. Like now when I see elderly people, and when I was growing up they was called senile. Now it's dementia and Alzheimer's. So I think sometimes that they don't diagnose it right away with what all that hyperactivity is in a child, whether it's youthfulness or whether it's some attention deficit disorder. But with each child, I don't like it when they just throw them in a category. Not every child is hyper.
Right.
Has a condition either.
It's true. And I definitely agree with her because the doctors do get a check every time they prescribe, hey, this child is ADHD. They get thousands of dollars to do that. So why not say that all these kids is ADHD? Then they put it where the parent also can get a check if he or she can show that their child have some of these symptoms, and they could get a check forever.
And
you know what I mean?
And you know what that money, the reason why that is, it's a lot of that's a money trail. Everybody gets paid when you diagnose someone with an illness.
Yes.
It's crazy that you say that, because as soon as they diagnosed my son, it was, oh, you can get social security for him. So me being the parent, I went down to SSI. So now my son gets a check. Right. And like he said, it's just a paper trail.
And there's another customer. Another customer for the medication that they're selling.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And speaking from personal experience and dealing with ADHD and being diagnosed, because I was one of 7 County's first patients, like 1978. Around there,
you're alumni.
Y'all
that don't know what 7 Counties is.
And that's what they diagnosed me as.
Right. 1 second, but you have to explain 7 Counties, right?
Yeah, they assist people.
7 Counties is a behavioral psychiatrist and psychologist that deal with children and now they deal with adults as well now. But at that time they were just dealing with adolescents, juveniles, and now they might be the biggest in Louisville, 7 Counties, as far as counseling services.
They Centerstone at the current moment.
Yeah, Centerstone,
Yeah.
And so going there, I remember my mom at that time, they diagnosed me ADHD, manic. And first thing they want to do was Ritalin. That's what that was the go-to at that time. Yeah. So let's put him on Ritalin. I was, no, you're not putting him on any medication. And so I never took any medication for it ever. And I was just normal, a whole lot of energy. And that's what the kids have today. They just have a whole lot of energy. But by them staying in the house all day long, not going outside, they're not outdoors kids. They're around the adult population so much, and they see them, it's kind of nerve-wracking to them. So when they say, you won't sit down, you don't want to sit down, well, he doesn't have anything to do.
Right.
See, when you don't have anything to do, you get antsy. You get to moving around. You can't be still.
Exactly.
But if you're outside doing what's normal and what's natural to a child that's 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years old, which is to be outside, sports, bird watching, whatever it is that you do, but some outdoors time in the natural environment.
So you're saying it's the classroom that gives them the ADHD?
It's the home that gives them the ADHD because
well, I'm talking about the classroom environment where where it's a structured environment. You have to listen to someone and you have to follow through certain tasks where it's structured, where you're not just out playing and stuff, because it does come a time where you have to go to school and you can't just be outside playing around. You got to be in here studying.
It's like pent up energy.
There has to be some balance.
You gotta let the energy be released. If you're just going from school to your video game,
there's no separation.
You got energy. So you building up, and the best time to do it is why not in class? Because
now we're speaking of mental
time is boring.
We're speaking of mental health.
There we go.
So we got to keep it in regards that these people have an issue. We can't keep it in regards of a normal child that just have pent up energy.
Right. But the thing is that
you have to talk about the children that really has this issue.
Yes, there are some that really do.
Some really need medication.
Right, but the ones
I believe that it is. I believe that 2/3 of it is real, 1/3 of it is fake. And I believe the medication is killing them.
Right.
I believe it's ways of handling it. But it is some messed up, because I went to school to be a drug counselor. I did internship at a drug facility. So, it's some real messed up children.
I got a question
ADD.
So
ADHD.
what you saying with your percentage that you just had, how would you actually know if it's a mental disorder if they're going from video game to school, video game to, how would you know?
You would have to sit down.
That's
with your
parenting.
children.
That's parenting alone. That's a whole
attention.
separate issue. It's a lot of bad parenting out here. Whether you think that you're doing good for your child, it's such a thing as enabling a child.
Right.
You have a lot of enabling going on right now. They think that they're doing so good for their child. They're trying to do things for their child that they never got as they was growing up. But really, they enabling their child, because a lot of entrepreneurs that went through something in life, they actually became something.
My mother told me there was a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
You went to school at a certain time.
Yeah.
Right.
You played for a certain time. You studied for a certain time.
Yeah.
You went to bed at a certain
You got
time.
increments of
But
eight.
you know what? But one of the things
Increments of eight.
just going around on me, because all of us are old enough, you do know that nowadays kids don't have recess, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you think about how all of us grew up, and I probably grew up stranger than most of us. I grew up on a military base. So my dad was in the military. I moved around, so I grew up in
My
this.
dad was in
okay.
military.
Oh, you guys are military people.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. So you grew up in this like really 1950s Beverly,
Yes.
Leave It to Beaver. Everyone has a mom and a dad. Like your mom's screaming, "Boys, come in to have lunch." You come running in from the fields because you've been playing outside all day. But if you take a look at how children are set up now, our schools only teach them to test. Children have no concept of being able to do things on their own. For example, when we were little, if you wanted to play a pickup game of basketball or baseball, in my neighborhood, we went and got our mats. We made the mats ourselves. We had a baseball and a bat, and all the kids, we made up the rules ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
And nowadays, you don't have that. You have kids, you got Little League, you've got to go and drive them around to all of these different, there's no community anymore where a group of kids come together and just put a game together themselves.
My kids do.
Right, but it's not normal anymore.
Right.
It's not normal for
I
kids just
even
to be
get
able
out
to
there
have
and play ball with my kids.
unsupervised time where they can just go do things.
And that's the psychological conditioning part that has them messed up to where they're so intoxicated by their environment because it's all they see all the time.
Yeah.
And it becomes from the adolescent, toddler, teenager, young adults till when they're adults, and they never. That's why you see those guys and those girls and those women that never leave their neighborhoods. They never go outside of their neighborhoods. They don't know anything outside of that. Maybe a field trip to Kings Island or something like that. But outside of that, never seen anything, never been anywhere. And they become so stuck right there. And then when you become stuck like that and the kids become stuck, and it becomes, like I say, psychological conditioning. It becomes repetitive. But my mom does it, so my kids do it. Then my kids do it, and then it just keeps going on. Because in those types of settings like that, when you have the kids like that in the type of settings that they have now, and then you have teachers that are not teachers. So you have to have a certain love for kids, and have to have a certain love for learning and a certain passion for what it is that you're good at, whether it be mathematics, whether it be science, social studies. whatever it is that your particular field, this is what you're passionate
Do you believe
about.
it's a different breed of children out here now?
It's a different breed of children.
Both. I think it's both ways. I think it's both ways.
How different.
It's definitely a breed of children.
It's
but,
hard to
but
teach
the
these
children,
kids, boy.
It's
Yes,
hard
it
to
is.
teach them because it doesn't start in the home.
Well said.
See, when
Yeah.
you don't start something in the home, you can't transfer it outside the home.
What's-
I
I think there's a
understand.
lot more distractions now for kids growing up than it was from my era coming up. You know, we didn't have social media.
can have
we
their
didn't have
We wouldn't have survived. I wouldn't have
access
survived high school with Facebook.
to
I wouldn't
all
survive
the
high school with the
information
phone.
that's available
That
with the
too.
internet and stuff like that.
Right.
We weren't seeing as much now as these kids see. You know, and it's they can just look at it on their phone.
Now, hold on, Mark. Let me
anytime.
give you an example. When we was growing up, you see a Playboy magazine.
That was
you.
big
That
shit.
was the big stuff.
Take a step back.
I'm
Step
talking
back.
about
Step back. Step
big
back.
stuff.
Victoria's
I mean,
Secret.
look, hold on.
Victoria's
You
Secret
go on
magazine.
Cinemax after 12 o'clock. 43, channel
Playboy
43 in
channel,
Louisville.
man.
You know,
The Playboy
you
channel
know,
on the
man. I'm
cable,
telling
man.
you, you see
My
some
brother
stuff.
got caught
Yeah,
with
the
Now
white
they
jacket
can see
10
actual
see some.
intercourse.
But that's
Do you remember
in
the little crosses
every way
through?
you can have intercourse.
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
Do you recall the little
HBO.
crosses through the screen?
You gotta go that far. Just go on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go on
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah,
Right,
you
right,
can
right.
cuss
But
on
even
Facebook
with-
and all
but
these
even
social
with all
medias. and
that-
your-
but even with all that, you still can raise a child to be successful. You can still raise a
No,
child
no,
to be
not disputing
educated.
that.
You
Not
can still raise a
disputing
child to be
Yeah.
respectful.
I
You
just
can
said
still
it's
do
more
all
distractions.
those things. But the thing about it is, it's all depend. See, there's more children out here doing what they're supposed to be doing than it is today.
Let me give you the reality
A
real
person
quick.
can be
You have
successful quicker
parents.
now
I'm sorry.
in this age than they could back in our age.
Yes.
I mean, it can work in the reverse also. I mean, like athletes and stuff, for instance, child athletes, or if you have some type of talent, the exposure that you can get from the internet, the exposure that you can get from social media now to build your platform, to build your brand, for the
Incorporate
world
yourself.
to see you. You know what I'm saying? These are also advantages. So with advantages, there's disadvantages, you know what I'm saying? You know,
Absolutely.
it's probably in every era, you know.
So I think
this
it boils
is so-
down to like probably the uncomfortable thing that I'm probably going to say is that like the people most of the time the people that don't have kids generally are the ones that are. Think about your aunts and uncles. For me, I don't know if it applies to you guys, so shoot me if I'm wrong. But my best aunts and uncles are the ones that didn't have kids because they understood us a lot easier. Like they were less stressed about everything, and so we were talking earlier about
That's
teachers.
very true.
I would have loved to have been a science school teacher. For me,
Yes.
I love little kids. I can't do that at $34,000 a year.
Right. They're definitely underpaid.
Oh, definitely
Extremely.
underpaid.
But I don't
so then you can't-
understand
so you're not
why,
getting
though.
the best-
Why
so
are
you're not
they
getting the
most
best
underpaid
talent.
profession there is, and they're teaching our kids.
Because teaching became a lost profession somewhere around about
Public
97.
service.
Teaching was on the
somewhere around
Public
96.
service became
somewhere
a
around,
lost
around
profession.
96 or 97. Teaching became a lost profession. The people that really loved doing it were
Retired.
retiring, were
Right.
transitioning out. And the teachers that were transitioning in were transitioning in an era.
Teaching how to test.
Let me give you another opinion. My daddy's a teacher. My mother's a
Absolutely.
head
My mom's
counselor.
teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I learned was growing up in the 70s, and if you didn't go die in the war, and you grew up in the 60s or 70s, your choices was very limited.
Sure.
And one of them was teaching.
Right.
As a black male or
As
a
a way to
black
move up.
female. And black females really didn't have many rights, but one of their rights was teaching.
teaching.
You see what I'm
They love
saying?
doing it.
So it steamed all the way from that, and getting a teacher's job in the black community was big time. You get what I'm saying? So I believe they kept it at just a scale, and where in your mind you thinking that you done did it. If you done retired from teaching, you done did it. And other platforms is just not obtainable. You know what I'm saying?
My mother and father are teachers.
Yeah.
Father was a school principal, mother was a teacher. So I relate a lot to that because their jobs were looked at that time when I was coming up, 70s and 80s.
Daddy had a good job.
Like,
and,
that was the one white collar job that was available to black Americans.
Yes.
Other than that, you had to have a good factory job.
Yes.
And that was
Or be
basi-
light skinned.
those are basically your options.
Yeah, you don't have many options.
See how the options were Philip
Shout out to my
Morris,
light skinned brothers.
Philip Morris, Brian Williamson. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm talking
Light
about
skin
overall,
ain't
not
even
just
in
in
no more.
like
I know,
Louisville.
I'm so
GE,
happy.
General Motors, GE, General Motors.
Factories,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Stuff like that.
Blue collar work.
I came from GE.
Post office.
GE
Those
is
were
not.
the
Military.
Those were the international harvester. Those
Yeah.
were the good paying money jobs.
GE's not a good paying job no more.
No, not now. But back in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
those were the jobs. You know what I mean? GE,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
Philip Morris, Ford.
Yeah.
so let's have that
Yeah.
conversation though.
Absolutely.
What happened in but what happened when the '90s? So let's have that whole conversation.
What
Nobody
happened
wants to
in the
talk
90s
about.
is that
Clinton,
No, not
we're in
Clinton.
the- we're in a tech
Listen,
world
what happened
now.
in the
Clinton,
90s,
and NAFTA.
No, what happened in the 90s was the implementation.
Shalom. We need to have something when someone breaks a glass. We need to have something when someone breaks a glass.
Now where we at? Because
You're talking about 70s. You're talking about 70s and 80s in terms of
now
like
in the
I mean,
70s,
you can go back
okay,
60s.
No, I can speed it up. Okay, 60s building, 70s arriving, 80s black people, working people, families.
Destroyed.
No, in the 80s, no, living their best life.
No.
Listen to me. In the 80s,
No, I
in the 80s,
completely
I didn't
disagree.
listen to me. In the 80s, I didn't want for my mom. We didn't want for nothing.
Yeah.
You didn't want
Yeah,
for
you
anything.
didn't want
You
for
didn't want. You
No,
were
I'm
very
saying
fortunate.
this. Well, I'm saying this. She didn't want for nothing at the time. I want for the government.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, retired veteran.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
I'm
both
retired
my
war
parents are
veteran.
military, I
Listen,
get
man, retired war veteran. This is what I'm saying is that I had everything that a kid could possibly want: motorbikes, mopeds, clothes. I stayed fly, all of that. Ate what I wanted to eat. You know what I mean? And all that cable, VCRs, beta, the whole nine.
Yeah.
I didn't live back. None of my friends did. I didn't have a whole lot of friends that were downtrodden
Right.
and living in bandos like they're doing today, or over their house and they don't have nothing to eat. They got to call Leap and getting brown bills. A lot of that wasn't happening because a lot of my friends in the 70s and the 80s that I grew up with had working parents.
Right.
Even if it's just one, working
Right. But
every day, not just every now and then. And we're not talking about Arby's, Walmart,
Right.
Target. We're talking about Philip Morris, LG&E, the water company.
Yeah, of course.
These are the type of jobs that these women and these men had. So they were working, but
Right.
then around about 87, little white thing come in the picture.
Crack cocaine.
Crack cocaine come in. That changed the dynamic. That destroyed everything that black folks had been building for 40 years.
Preach, Deborah.
40 years.
in 82
It had been
in
building.
New York.
So it did. What happened is, you come in, the crack cocaine comes in. The people in the projects, the housing projects, and the lower Section 8 housing wasn't the people that was smoking cocaine. It was the people that was working at the Philip Morris's, the international harvester, the water company, the school teachers. These were the hospitals. These were the people that were doing cocaine.
Right.
Believe
All
So
edu-
therefore, so when that came in and when the crack came in, so from 86 to 96, it destroyed the black community.
I believe
Right.
that.
All the way to flatland.
I believe that.
It was like, it was worse than riots. A riot comes in and destroys the whole community.
Right. So
This didn't, crack cocaine came in and destroyed every single thing. It took, black folks owned their homes in the 70s and the 80s.
yes.
All my friends, moms and dads, owned their homes. They wasn't renting. They had mortgages. They owned their homes. They was almost paid for. They owned their cars.
Yeah.
When the crack cocaine came in, what happened? The father starts smoking dope. The mom is still working, taking care of the kids. What happens? The father gets to smoking. Next thing you know, money gets depleted. Next thing you know, money gets missing. Then he loses his job that he's been on for 25 years.
Right.
So he loses his, he depletes his 401k.
And
all
then
the
it
bank accounts.
backfired on the.
Then she gets fed up with it, so she moves out with the kids. They move into what? A Section 8 apartment. They go from a home to a Section 8 apartment. He stays in the home. He rents the house out to crack dealers to be able to fend off his own addiction.
Right. But hold
So
on.
then everything goes down. So what does he do? He gets a second mortgage on the home. He spends all that, so he loses his property that he spent his whole life buying. So he loses everything. He loses everything. And this is not one person. This is block by block by house, by house, by block, by house. No other drugs that affected the black community like crack cocaine.
Yeah.
Like heroin. Heroin affects
But
one
now we
individual.
got heroin.
Capitalism, sorry.
Heroin.
Now we got heroin.
I'm sorry,
and we have
like,
ice. We
But
have
heroin
meth.
affects one individual. Crack cocaine affects the whole entire family.
Yeah, but capitalism, and the need for all of us to shit on each other is the reason why all of us aren't where we're supposed to be.
Yes.
So let's
yes.
have that conversation.
Well,
and I'm not sorry. This was a conjunction
Hold on.
against you because I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. My black experience is a bit different because my family grew down. I'm from the Carolinas originally.
Okay.
So my family's been down in the Carolinas since the 17th century. I speak Gullah. Gullah is the tongue of the slaves because all of us came over from West Africa. Africa is a continent. It's not a country. So when they brought us all over, they switched us all up amongst each other in different ships so that we couldn't speak to each other and form groups because people were intelligent. They weren't just these, dumb, people sitting out in the wilderness doing nothing. The reason why they specifically picked us was because most of the white people had already died in the 16th century when they tried to bring them over the first.
But they bring
the
them
second
over
time.
before then.
Yeah, right. And we were already here too. They were
already
already
enslaved
indigenous.
Americans.
Don't get me started. But I'm trying to fast forward it.
Right.
The point I'm saying is that. So I think that there's a big digression in the United States of what we don't talk about. And there are black people that live in the countryside, and there are black people that live in the city. And black people that live in the countryside, their life and their experiences are completely different than black folks that live in the city. And we don't get a lot of that voice. We don't get a lot of that voice. Yes. My parents grew up in the countryside where there was no pimp man. There was no money to see. Everybody was broke. Everybody was poor. They rubbed chicken grease on their legs to school for lotion. I'm talking about like that level, all right? But my grandparents own their own land. To this day, we still own all our own land. If you look at traditionally, how most families are in terms of like what they eat, my family, everybody's healthy. We don't have these problems because we grow our own food. And Janae, you come to my house, I have my vegetables are planted outside right now. I got collard greens and cabbage. Like, I don't mess around with all of this other stuff. So what I'm trying to say is that I understand, part of me was a bit naive growing up in a military base establishment where like, oh, we're all equal, we're all the same, la, 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 right? And then you take a step out of that and you realize how much of all of this, even institutionally here in Louisville, Kentucky, I'm 39 years old, clear 6 figures a year, and I can't get an apartment. I go to 2 or 3 different apartments in 2020. I clear good money. I have immaculate credit, no problems, no nothing. And I can't get an apartment in Louisville, Kentucky because I used to live in Paris for a bunch of years, and then I bring them all my documentation. My accountant is here, you guys know. And I can't get an apartment in Louisville, Kentucky in 2020. So there's clearly some institutional things that are still here, to even include that. What's the Walmart? The Walmart is Bashford Manor, right? Do you guys know what Bashford Manor means?
Yes.
Bashford Manor is the slave market.
Yes.
Bashford Manor is what they sell slaves on.
Mall.
Yeah, it should be the mall. It was a slave mall.
Yes, it was a slave mall.
Yes.
And so all of these things are still sitting around to remind us that we are subservient, so we are subhumans. And when you go to Germany, you don't see colonels of Nazis. You don't see any of this stuff around. They take all that stuff and they put it in a museum somewhere. All of this stuff from Broadmoor Estates, all of these last names, all of this stuff here is all directly tied to keep their neck on you. You don't even realize that you can't breathe.
Yes, but that's the thing of that's always going to be how they perceive it. But I don't necessarily have to go about the way of doing business with them. You know what I mean? Yes, truly.
It's not business. It's to understand your environment. To understand you, in order to like survive it, first you got to understand it. If you're not able to understand it, if I'm over here shooting you over some J's, or just because you got a 92 Lexus with 22s on it, then we're not able to have a deeper conversation. And what I'm trying to say is that there's not a lot of us that sit around and have, as black folks, you know what they do. They take us all and put us in this one stereotype. But we all know that we are all very different. We all come from different walks of groups, and we're not monolithic.
Right.
But there is a very dark system behind the closed doors that is designed to keep you down.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Yes,
and I'm not disagreeing with you. I think for me, it was more matter of fact. I think for me, it was really effed up to have that light bulb and we're like, damn.
But
There's definitely systems in place that has oppressed us. But at the same time, there's a lot of opportunities.
Come on,
too.
man. I mean, I'm the
I'm the
American dream.
always a person that looks at the cup half full.
Right.
You know, yeah. I can look at everything that's preventing us from getting ahead and stuff like that, or I could look at the opportunities that I do have and try to take advantage of them when they come my way or when I make them happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that makes us the
it all
exception.
depends on your mind.
That makes
It all
us the
depends on
exception
your
and not the
mindset.
rule.
Yeah. Too busy thinking about winning to be putting any time about thinking about losing.
God provided the worms for the bird, but he still has to go to work and get them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He's definitely got
Point
to do that.
blank. Like you said,
It's out there, man.
He definitely got to do that.
Now, you had a
and
bad
I understand the
experience.
mindset that you're talking about, and things that are around us that remind us. You're right. I did not know that about Bashford Manor.
Yeah,
I didn't know that about
yeah.
Bashford
You know what I'm
Manor
saying?
either.
You didn't know
That just
that?
blew my
Yeah.
mind right there, man.
You didn't
I did not know that about
yeah.
Bashford Manor, man.
Yeah, man.
But
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. There's systematic little things.
Just to pick up on
I've not been out of the country to see what Paris and all that looks like.
Stop it.
But I see that we are taking down statues around the country.
Hell yeah.
People are protesting about that. They are now putting them in segregated places like museums and stuff like that, instead of just being in front of government buildings and
I feel like
official
I've become
places.
like this. So let me just take a step back because I feel like I've become like the militant one now. I'm like ready to kill everybody down. I get like that.
You don't know the history behind some of these statues. You walk past them and you just think that they're great leaders of some type of war or military battle or a historic figure. But like the one that was up there by the courthouse, y'all.
Yeah.
Sitting right there in front of you.
Square.
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson.
Sitting right there in front of you.
That they trashed, you know what I'm saying, during the Breonna Taylor ruling and
No, that was the Louis French Louis the 16th.
Is that what the city's named after?
Okay, so Louisville is French.
It's
Louis
French.
Yeah.
Ville
It's
means
like
city.
Right,
The city
I
of
know
Louis,
this,
Louisville.
yeah.
It's a French city.
Yes, French.
It
It's a
probably
French city.
stemmed from Louis because I've seen a couple things.
Or
about,
Versailles, Kentucky.
That's what that symbol is. That's a French symbol.
Yeah, okay.
French
The
symbol.
Fleur de Lis.
of the king.
The Fleur de Lis.
Louis.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but definitely, man. When it comes to the systematic racism, it is things in place. But like she said, I look at the cup half full, and we're not beating up on you.
No.
because,
I can take it. I'm a big boy. Don't worry.
Yeah. No. You said some things that's true. You said some things.
But you know
that
what's
was
funny
real.
is you made an analogy just now talking about the worm. You still have to go get it.
Yeah.
And what I would say to that is like you out there working for the worm, you didn't realize that these people out here have the worms already shipped for them. They don't have to go and do it.
Right. Now that comes to systematic. I was
That's what
speaking
I'm talking.
naturally.
I agree. Come on, we have we work. I work. Come on, man. You know I work.
And I love the way
You have
just
no
shared it.
idea how
But you
set
know
up
something?
some of these people
I got
are.
another topic that I want to discuss with y'all.
What?
Just to keep it moving,
ready.
so we can touch on a few different little things. The city of Louisville. I would like to know, how do you all feel about y'all's hometown? Maybe not everyone's hometown, but we all currently living here, residing here. This is where we're from. What do you think, though? What was in the last 20 years? Progress?
Let me start you off with that.
Stood still or regressed?
Well, I think it kind of stood still and regressed. Is that what you said on that? And
Progress, regress, stood still.
It did all of that. And what I'm going to say is going to go into the topic we're speaking to about now, and what we just got finished. Well, what y'all just got finished talking about. What I want to say is, as far as one man right here was saying, the parenting factor, as well as what you said, plays a whole lot in it. As y'all know, I think a lot of people and parents has became more friends than parents with their kids. So what I would like to say is, if you do more as a mother and a father, but speak as a man and a woman, I think that your kids will understand you better about what's going on. That carries on with also how Louisville has, the stayed still and digressed and all of that, because the kids of them became lazy. They think that the parents supposed to just give them everything, And I was blessed with both my mother and father, that
I was
worked.
asking you, like, in terms like the city growing itself.
Oh yeah, I'm
like,
bringing on into it. I just wanted to kind of touch on what y'all was just talking about. Louisville's slow to me. I mean, I done been to 7 countries. I done probably been to about 30, 40 other states. And it seems like whatever I see at another state, I always like, how come I don't see it here in Louisville? And 2 years later, here it comes. So that would be as far as like with the hair, products and tradition, as far as barbering and salons, I'm like, we could have been on top of that trend. What's wrong with it? Why does every state or every country has that trend before we have it? And we're just about the gateway to everything. We're the gateway. They say we're the gateway to the South. You gotta go through us.
Our location is beautiful.
It's beautiful. We just slow, and I think it's just coming from the people.
Well, I'm from the Caribbean, and they used to always say that the Caribbean is always slower. Since I moved here, this is gonna be my 3rd year in Louisville, and in the hair department itself, Louisville is like 2-3 years behind.
Yeah.
And I'm dealing with a lot of local business owners. A lot of them don't want advice. They don't want to take advice from someone else to help them bring up their business, because they feel like they know everything and they don't want to change. They want to continue doing the same thing over and over and over again. They don't want to improve. They feel like what they're doing is fine right now. So because of that, they don't want to get new information. They stay behind.
Well, the number one reason on that for real is because they don't want to lose their clientele. They don't want to lose their customers.
You won't lose your clientele. You're gonna gain more respect because you've learned something to make your business and the quality of your work better.
And I understand exactly what you're saying. I remember, like, when I started going to appointments. I'm a barber. I'm a barber. Started going to appointments about, I'll say, appointments only, maybe 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And I used to have a board that would sit up by my station, and it was just like a first come, first serve. And they would sign in. And I would come to work 10 o'clock in the morning and get here, and I had 14, 15, 16 names of people who have already been in here, signed up, left, and they're just gonna come back later. And all throughout the day, I'm putting names down, you know what I'm saying? I'll call you when I get to you, you know what I'm saying? And that just became so much of a hassle. It's like coming to work and, it was
overwhelming.
Yeah, it was overwhelming. And so I decided to go to all appointments, and I had some hesitation with it, just wondering, I know I'm going to lose some people. Everybody's not going to buy into this mobile app stuff. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not going to want to, take the time to download the app and make an appointment. I'm to show everybody how to work the app. And, some people just, they don't want to do it in advance. They want to just be able to drive by and come up here and hang out and wait until then. But I saw that the barbershop industry specifically was changing. There used to be a time where you did come in and you did hang out all day and you watched the basketball game and you chatted, you just waited your time in line from the time when I was a child and stuff. But things are moving in a different direction. Yeah. People have places to go. No one wants to sit in here and wait for 3 hours to get a haircut. Yeah. They would much rather arrive at the time that their chair was going to be available and know that they was going to be getting out there within the hour. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I saw that wave coming, and going to a mobile app and going to appointments only, the people that I didn't want anyway, those were the ones that was always the problem anyway. So it eliminated the ones that I didn't want.
Yes.
It helped my business out, you know,
Yes.
tremendously.
Yes.
Gave me order, peace of mind. I could come in, I know what my day was.
Yes.
You know, I could schedule my lunch on my app
Yes.
and all that
But you
type of
wasn't getting
stuff.
no
I didn't have to answer calls in the middle of a cut and stuff like that because you just make an appointment on the app.
You can
I don't
use the
even have-
restroom.
I don't have to
all
talk to
that.
you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that made it so much more convenient. But I would tell all my barbers in here, man, y'all need to do this. Y'all need to do this, man. Y'all need to get on this app, man. Y'all tripping, man. You got all them people back there waiting and stuff like that. Don't that make you feel like anxiety on top of you when you got all them people watching your every move? You know what I'm saying, man? How much longer you got, man? I mean, he's in front of me, man. You know what I'm saying? And all of that type of stuff.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You
Or
know,
they leave and come back, and you like,
Yeah,
bro, why would you leave? Like,
yeah, you go to, you know, use the bathroom and they just, nah, man, I didn't want that. You know, that was making my day more difficult. I wasn't liking my job as much. But some people, they're not ready for that. They're still not ready. But I've learned that you got to be on top of what's coming. You know what I'm saying? Being innovative and being open to change. Some of us like dinosaurs. You know, you get so stuck in your ways and so comfortable in what you're used to doing. Yep. You know, and to change that is a disruption.
And that's
another, because you're going to have to train everybody that you deal with a different way, and that's not comfortable sometimes.
And you got to recondition them, and that's
what
makes Louisville slow.
Recondition.
But getting back to Louisville, though, you say how is it changing? I believe Louisville is really moving up. I keep up with Indianapolis pretty much, and that's my comparison to Louisville. I remember when we was 15 years behind Indianapolis, literally and figuratively, however you looked at it. And now I can say that we're probably about 7 years behind Indianapolis due to social media, due to all the good, beautiful aspects of whatever it is. Louisville's actually really catching up. They're getting involved in the restaurant industry.
The hotel industry.
The hotel
building
industry.
more.
We lost
a lot more.
We lost a big time contract to Atlanta due to the fact of our not having a lot of hotels, and I think it's the FAA, FAA or something like that. The Future Farmers of America. Yeah. We lost them to Atlanta because they had a hotel in their convention center that would house the people. You know,
I feel like Louisville's at least trying.
So that's why
they're trying to build. You know, they've been trying to build downtown up. You know, they just built the Omni and stuff. You know, not saying it's but I feel like we're trying at least.
We're trying. We just have a hard time with change.
Right.
You know, they've made the waterfront wonderful with the walking bridge and all the stuff that they're doing down there. They just built a soccer stadium. U of L campus looks marvelous.
And they still building.
You know, there's constant work on expressways to make people, you know, in and out better. They built the bridges, but you know, nice little bridges.
Spaghetti Junction's gone. If you didn't grow up knowing about Spaghetti Junction, you don't know nothing about Spaghetti Junction. You know what I'm saying? You can get confused if you don't look at them signs.
And I like the way
you be in Indianapolis going to Indianapolis.
I like the way that they've complimented the Yum Center and the building of Main Street, Market Street, and all of that they're developing up.
I'm sick of these one ways.
Yeah.
I think every street need to be a two ways.
They one way.
You know, you either got to go this way or that way, and you know,
but the
third,
one way
come
makes
down
it.
second.
The
you
one
know,
way makes
but
it.
They did make second a two way.
But the one way gives it that downtown
feel.
Feel.
I'm with you.
Because in any city you go to, whether it be New York, whether it be LA,
they all got one way.
They all got one way.
Yeah.
139th and 78th.
Yeah.
Well, you can go up 78th, but you can't go up 139th.
Yeah,
both ways. One way.
Who was the NBA team we were supposed to get?
We tried to get
the Memphis Grizzlies.
Memphis
Grizzlies.
And you know something? They're gonna have another bidding for an NBA
But they was
team
the
in the next
Vancouver
couple of years,
Right.
and we'll be up
we
for
gonna get
something
it. We
like
gonna
that,
get
man.
that.
I think that
We need
will.
a girl.
Rick Pitino set us up good to get an NBA
We need a
team.
girls. We need a girls team, but we don't need a men's team. It's not gonna survive.
I'm sorry. We got to
Right.
wrap it up, y'all. I'm getting
right.
the signal over there from the production crew. So,
I was trying to find this article where they're saying that Louisville was is the lead in social media. Like everybody is coming to Louisville for everything.
Well,
so
let's get a
that's
big
what I'm
shape
trying
up
to
for
find
Louisville.
out.
then.
Louisville's the
right
fourth
now.
comfortable
that
city in
come
the
to
United
light.
States.
Well, big shape up to Louisville.
Louisville's the fourth comfortable city in the United States. Indianapolis is first. Lexington is fifth.
Come on, Louisville, we can do it.
Yeah, we're making some names. Even our entertainment's jumping up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Bryce
Bryce
Tiller
Tiller.
help. We got
Jack
Jack
Harlow.
Harlow's doing wonderful things.
ESTG.
So, you know, ESTG.
Big shape up to all of them.
So, but anyway,
Shape up all
y'all,
them.
we're gonna wrap this thing on up. Well, listen, y'all. I guess we're gonna wrap this up.
Let's start.
Definitely gonna do this again. It's our first episode, our first shot at it.
Yeah, man.
You know, as we grow, you know, it'll
Give a
be
shape up to that.
As we grow, you know, we'll get better at the topics and
On everything.
on everything. So just,
Shout out to
just
Bel
stick
Air.
with us. We just out here
Shout out
having
to
fun
Bel
with
Air.
it.
Big shape up.
Shouts out to Bel Air.
Shout out to
Shape
Bel
up for
Air.
You know,
Toast to Shape Up and to Bel Air.
Cheers, guys.
yes,
I don't know where mine is.
What's going on?